Is spending $13 billion on a single warship a mandatory strategic necessity or a massive waste of taxpayer money? Today, we're opening the ledger to find out. Welcome to the channel. Make sure to hit that subscribe button to join us as we break down the complex machinery driving global security. For over 40 years, the Nimitz-class carrier has operated as the backbone of the United States Navy. These vessels have deployed to nearly every major conflict since the Cold War. But their 1960s-era design has hit a wall. The ship's physical hull and power generators simply cannot support the immense weight and electrical demands of modern defense systems. When a fleet can no longer support modern technology, the military cannot patch it with superficial upgrades. Planners have to start completely from scratch. That absolute requirement forced a strategic reset and birthed the most expensive weapons program in human history. This is the USS Gerald R Ford, designated CVN-78. From the laying of its keel to its final commissioning, construction took 13 years and cost an astonishing $13.3 billion. To build a ship this advanced, the Navy utilized a controversial procurement strategy called concurrent development. Instead of building and testing new technologies on land first, engineers installed multiple entirely unproven systems simultaneously onto a brand new hull. That strategy led to severe high-profile failures during early trials. All 11 of the ship's advanced weapons elevators initially refused to work. The ship suffered from plumbing failures that cost $400,000 per flush to repair. Simultaneously, internal watchdogs raised serious concerns about the vessel's performance in cyber survivability tests. These developmental growing pains dragged on for years. Military planners, lawmakers, and the public were left staring at a terrifying question. Did the United States design a visionary maritime platform, or did it sink $13 billion into a complete disaster? To answer that, we are looking at this cost-benefit ledger. We need to break down the exact mechanical and electrical upgrades to see what the Navy actually bought with $13.3 billion. First, they threw out the steam. On older carriers, high-pressure steam bled directly from the nuclear reactors powers the catapults that launch jets. The Ford completely removes this maintenance-heavy piping and replaces it with the Electromagnetic Aircraft Launch System, or EMALS. EMALS uses precise linear induction motors to throw a jet down the deck. This electrically controlled acceleration severely reduces structural stress on heavy strike fighters like the Super Hornet. Because the force can be dialed down, it also allows the carrier to safely launch lightweight, fragile unmanned drones like the MQ-25 Stingray. Second, we have the power plant. This chart compares the Nimitz baseline against the two new reactors powering the Ford. They generate 250% more electrical power. The Navy built this massive surplus specifically for future-proofing. With nearly every system running on electricity, that excess juice is waiting in reserve to power incoming technologies, like high-energy laser defense weapons and the incredibly demanding dual-band radar array. The Ford operates as a floating, actively upgradable power grid built specifically to adapt to advanced weapons that haven't even been invented yet. Third is lethality. The ultimate measure of a carrier is its sortie generation rate, the number of aircraft it launches and recovers daily. The Ford is designed to sustain 160 combat flights daily and surge up to 270. That is a massive 33% increase over previous generations. This speed comes from a completely redesigned flight deck layout and those 11 advanced weapons elevators. While they caused headaches during development, they now use electromagnetic linear motors to rapidly load ordnance from the magazines deep in the ship directly up to the flight deck. Fourth is manpower. Thanks to the ship's massive reliance on computer automation for its electronics, maintenance, and damage control, the Ford requires 600 fewer sailors to operate than a Nimitz-class carrier. When you remove 600 crew members, you remove the heavy costs to train, house, and feed them. Over the carrier's 50-year lifespan, the Navy calculates this reduced crew size saves $4 billion per ship. That operational efficiency effectively pays back a significant chunk of the initial $13 billion build cost. Even with these internal upgrades, critics argue the entire aircraft carrier concept is obsolete. They point to the rise of cheap combat drone swarms and adversarial hypersonic anti-ship missiles, like the Chinese DF-21D and YJ-21, which travel fast enough to treat a $13 billion ship like a sitting duck. But hitting a target moving at 30 knots in the open ocean is highly difficult. To defend itself, the Ford deploys an array of evolved Sea Sparrow missiles and rapid-fire CIWS guns, designed specifically to track and intercept incoming projectiles just above the waterline. Beyond its own guns, the carrier never travels alone. It serves as the integrated brain of an entire carrier strike group. The Ford's advanced radar instantly shares targeting data with surrounding destroyers, submarines, and space-based sensors, allowing escort ships to shoot down threats hundreds of miles away before they ever reach the carrier. A supercarrier's survival in the 21st century relies entirely on its ability to act as the networked command center of a massive multi-domain defensive shield. Despite its capabilities, the massive price tag has forced a financial reality check. Former Navy Secretary John Phelan recently initiated a strict, sweeping review of the entire program's costs, operations, and design. Future ships in the pipeline, specifically CVN-82 and CVN-83, are now being heavily scrutinized to ensure their massive procurement budgets actually make financial and strategic sense for the Defense Department. The Ford class is a verified technological marvel, yet its ultimate legacy depends entirely on whether the United States can actually afford to build the numbers required to maintain total naval supremacy. We want to hear your take on the future of the fleet. Please politely like, share, subscribe, and comment your thoughts below.